Hi, everybody. Chief Meteorologist Chris Justice here with you with brand new information on what I expect to be a significant winter storm for millions across the United States moving forward. If you're new to this channel, stay tuned because I've got a rocking and rolling storm system that's going to impact so many, bringing snow and ice into the area near you as we go into Friday's time frame. If you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing to this channel. I'll give you all the updates, the totals, the timing changes. Like this video, subscribe, turn on notifications. Also, please let me know where you're watching from. That helps me so much in the comment section. Let's get right to it because the data has trended today toward a colder, snowier solution for so many. And now we're in the wheelhouse here of our high-resolution computer models. Who of you watching right now in the comment section, let me know, want to see snow? I know so many of you do, but none of you want to see ice. That is unfortunately going to be a reality for so many of us. Like I mentioned, we're in the wheelhouse of the high-resolution models, one of them being the NAM. It has a cold air bias, which means it sometimes can be a little colder than it shows, but it's also gotten a lot better in recent years. And right now it shows snow arriving mid-morning through about lunchtime in western North Carolina, the upstate. A lot of times there is drier air in place during this time frame that has to be overcome with moisture coming in. That may delay the onset of snow moving in for your town toward mid-afternoon, but at some point during the day, the snow is just going to break out in many areas. For you folks back toward Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, Arkansas, Oklahoma, big time snow for you as well. That's more Thursday night into Friday. So this snow continues to move east towards Charlotte throughout the day on Friday. The peak of this storm for the upstate of South Carolina, western North Carolina, looks to be Friday afternoon into the evening hours. Notice the mixing begins to start to show up as we go into the Friday evening time frame. This would be 9 p.m., 10 o'clock. So ice up to the I-85 corridor with heavy snow in western North Carolina through the northern parts of the upstate. Ice, unfortunately, looks to mix in at some point, whether we like it or not. That's as the southerly winds kind of still inch in. At this point, it looks like that ice and snow is going to be a component to just about all of our forecasts, at least at some point. Boy, the models here have trended toward a snowier, heavier solution today. Here's what the latest models are showing. Broad brush, you got 8 to 12 inches back here through Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, Texas, anywhere, or Tennessee, I should say, 4 to 6 inches. North Georgia, 2 to 4. The upstate, from where I've got it from right here, would get 2 to 4, maybe 5 inches, and the mountains anywhere from 4 to 8 inches. Let's zoom in a little bit closer here because I've got ice concerns because at the end of this event, we're going to see ice be a problem in this as well. So on top of that snow I just showed you, there could be 1/4 of an inch of ice kind of crusting things in. Let's map this out closer, zoomed in here on this high-resolution model for you. I'll posit a couple of key moments that I see here. Let me know where you're watching from, and I'll tailor this to you in our next conversation here. But let me just see where things are here. Got the new one loaded. We're good. All right, so mapping this out. Nothing really begins to fall until we get to about mid-morning on Friday. Now remember, there's cold, dry air in place, but this snow is going to come in, and it's going to stick upon actually starting because at this point, I see the ground temperatures being cold enough that it shouldn't take any time for this to start falling. By lunchtime through about 4 or 5 o'clock, that snow's locked in across the upstate and western North Carolina. For some areas in the upstate, it may take until that time frame for the snow to actually begin to reach you. Again, we've got to overcome some dry air at first, and that takes some time. That snow is going to be heaviest through the evening hours on Friday, a wintry wonderland developing across many areas in North Carolina, upstate South Carolina. But unfortunately, our old friend ice, not friend, we don't like you. Ice mixes in south of 85 on top of whatever snow you had. This would be at 11 p.m. on Friday. That continues, but notice the colors are getting less dark. That's as the heaviest axis of moisture begins to shift east of I-77. This would happen around 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and things will begin to die down. Still a light mix going into the morning hours, but that's as far as our high-resolution model gets. How about totals? Well, as it stands right now, By noon, we would have a dusting in the northern parts of the upstate through western North Carolina. Look at how I'm going to advance the clock one more tab here. This would be 4 p.m. At 4 p.m., this model is showing an inch in Greenville, 2 inches in Clemson and Seneca, about an inch in Asheville. Let's go one more forward. This would be 7 p.m. We got around 1 to 3 inches in the upstate. By 10 p.m., 11 p.m., we've got 4 to 5 inches on this model showing up across the upstate and western North Carolina. And by midnight, we would have close to 8 inches in the mountains, 3 to 4 in Asheville and Hendersonville, with about 3 to 4 in the upstate. My forecast is for 2 to 4 because this model does not account for what might melt upon touching a surface, which I don't expect to be a lot, but it'll be a little bit. And then this doesn't account for ice mixing in at times. Well, let me show you that ice because this is the other half of the story. Moving forward here, ice, at least on the very end of this model, is quite an impact here, but it doesn't show up until this is 7 p.m., this is 10 p.m. So between 7 and 10, the upstate begins to transition from snow to ice, and you could get, I don't like this at all, 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch of ice on top of that snow. This is what the model's showing here. When you get to 1/4 of an inch, that's road problems. When you get to 1/2 inch of ice, that's power line and tree problems. So it's too much weight for those trees to hold, especially when you got some wet snow on top of it. All right, so that's the high-resolution model. It's the only high-resolution model that gets us into that yet. Let's zoom out a little bit and show you the deterministic models, which include our European, our GFS, our America model, some of the old trusty ones that get us out early. This still shows around lunchtime, snow arriving, certainly by the afternoon hours in western North Carolina, the upstate, continuing to peak around the evening hours, and then continuing the overnight hours. This European doesn't show much ice. I know it's going to be there. The high-resolution models are finer, more granularly detailed, so I trust that a little bit more than I do these bigger models that are good for days 3, 4, 5, 6 at giving us an idea. But now that we're closer in, I'd lean more toward our high resolution model. But nonetheless, it's something to look at, and it shows this all cleared out of here by 4 a.m. on Saturday morning. When you wake up at 7 a.m., there's nothing falling anymore, but this low's shifting off to the coast. What does the European show for snow totals? All right. Mapping that out here, just scrubbing through it here. Find your neck of the woods in this nifty little map here. It's got 8 to 12 inches back here, 2 to 4 here, about 2 to 4 here. Let's flip this to the 12Z model and see if that shakes out any differently. It's got 2 to 4 inches with closer to 5 in the mountains through our Saturday time frame. Let's average all 51 different models of the European, okay? That's counting not just one model, that's averaging them all. This is a much better way to look at it and gives me a better forecast. It's got accumulations as far south as Columbia, mixed with ice. You know it's going to be kind of a slushy mess down here, but up toward the upstate, you got anywhere from 1 to 2 inches, 2 to 4 closer to the I-85 corridor, and then 4 to 5, maybe 6 inches in western North Carolina. How about the GFS model? It's been really consistent this whole time frame. It's got snow beginning 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. in western parts of the upstate, continuing to pick up through midday. It's hard and heavy snow. It's thick. It's coming down hard and heavy. This really, really heavy snow through 7 p.m. Then our ice mixes in a lot like our high-resolution models do around 11 p.m. And then by 2 a.m., 1 a.m. to 2 a.m., it's mixing. By 4 a.m., it's beginning to pull away. By 7 a.m., there's nothing falling anymore on our Saturday morning. What does the GFS model show? Well, you ask, you shall receive. Here you go. Wowzer. GFS went nuts today on the snow. It's got 3 to 5 inches across the upstate of South Carolina. It's got 5 to 8 inches in western North Carolina. What do you do when I average in all 26 to 30 runs of the GFS model? They're right in line with each other. And honestly, folks, that's what you want to see. When I'm looking at a model to trust during a forecast, I want to see the operational run, which is that one you see, which has a lot of influence to my forecast. But I want to see its other 30 members of it be similar. And if they're the same, I know I can trust that model because the ensembles, a little nerd talk here, those 30 different runs that I'm averaging here are purposely tried to we purposely try to trick them, has a slightly different atmospheric content. Maybe the temperature's a little warmer, a little less moisture, a little further to the west, a little further to the north. We try to trick it in many different variables. And if you end up at the same spot, you can trust it. Okay, so 4 to 5, maybe 6 inches across western North Carolina. That's what the model's saying, which is right there with what the GFS operational run said. And I mean, this model run and the European, all but guaranteeing the ground is covered. This red is a 100% chance of an inch or more. Northern parts of Greenville, Pickens, Oconee County through western North Carolina, with the orange being an 80% chance. So an 80% chance of an inch or more north of 85, a 50 to 70% chance south of 85. I mean, there's snow chances all the way down here toward Columbia on this model, and the European is not far from that. Speaking of the European, we got 51 different varieties of that. Look at this. Every single one of our European models, all of them, there's not one. Oh, no, there's one. I lied to you. There's 1 out of 51 that show no snow in the upstate. All right, so what does it average out to? On average, they show about 2 inches. This is GSP International Airport. More north of there, a little bit less south of there. How about the GFS model? Clear this out for you. Again, nearly all of them. Let's see, 1, 2. There's 2 on the GFS model that do not show snow, but the other 29 of them show snow. The average on the GFS is higher. The average is about 3 inches on the ensembles. The deterministic run sits at about 4 inches. So either way, wherever you live in the land of watching me right now, it looks like we're going to see snow. And in anticipation of that, there is a winter storm watch posted for North Texas, southern Oklahoma, almost all of Arkansas, northern Mississippi, and western parts of Tennessee. Those are National Weather Service time-based watches. They are triggered how many hours out you are from the storm system. I would expect to see those spread east tomorrow. By tomorrow evening, we're probably locked in with winter storm watches for most of Tennessee, most of North Georgia, almost all of the Carolinas, north of Columbia, would be my opinion right now. All right, so hey, we're going to keep you posted. That's my jam here. And if you're new to the channel, wherever you're watching from, whether it be on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, WYFF, wherever you're watching from right now, I want you to know my commitment to you is to keep you posted. It's early in the ball game. There will be changes to the timing, to the totals, to the impacts, and my commitment to you is to keep you posted along the way. So again, if you're new to this channel, please consider liking this video. Please let me know where you're watching from. I peruse the comment section to my own caution sometimes, right? I mean, it's winter weather. Everybody's got an opinion. But I do look at the comment section. I do try to answer as many questions as I can. And I do love to see where you're watching from. If I can't write you back, I do at least read them to see, hey, where you're watching from across the area, and I can tailor my forecast to you more diligently. Facebook Live, YouTube Live, coming up for you tonight around 10 o'clock. We'll have much more on this event that's going to impact millions across the area. And folks, to be honest with you, I'll leave you with this. This is going to be an impact that's going to linger. Even though we draw out into some sunshine and we get to around 40 for highs this weekend in many areas, it's going to cool back down and have a hard freeze going into Saturday night and Sunday night. So church Sunday morning could be treacherous in some locations, and then Monday morning we could have trouble for schools because of black ice, especially in some of those rural roads. Okay, folks, my commitment to keep you posted. I'll dial it in for you.